guys, today's video is going to be about my long overdue of my experience about getting my nose done and also the whole process that I went through. So let's get into it. So I'm actually going to do a second video for a follow-up to this where I'm going to show my progression from before my surgery and after until now, but I wanted to separate them so it's not this really long video. So this one I'm going to start with the whole process that I went through and then go through my experience through the whole thing, and hopefully it won't be too long. So to start off with the process, it took a very long time. I wanted it for a long time, but it was one of those things where I thought, you know, like a nose job, I was like, oh my god, it must be so expensive, like someone like me could never afford that, and I always thought it was like famous people. And then I started looking it up, and I also knew a few people that had gotten it done, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm glad I did. I did a ton of research though. I'm not even kidding, do your research. It definitely helps. You find all kinds of different doctors, all different types of ways they do it and different things they do on the inside, and it's just like super interesting. So I think I researched for, I want to say at least 3-4 months. I know that doesn't sound like long, but I literally like every day I was looking up different doctors, different hospitals, different ways that it was done, different like everything you could possibly think of. And then I was sitting on YouTube watching a ton of videos. So I'm hoping that my videos will also help people and make them more comfortable with the whole process, because I know it definitely helped me a lot. So once I eventually went through a ton of research, I came across this website called realself.com, and I'm so glad I found it. So once I had narrowed it down, I had picked 2 doctors. I really liked them, and I just needed to meet up with them and talk about what I wanted done and everything, like medically and financially, obviously. And once I met up with one of the doctors, the connection wasn't really there. It was more of me telling him like what I wanted, but like almost telling him what to do. And he wasn't like looking at it from a doctor's perspective, I guess, if that makes sense. It was more of like, I was like, oh, I want, you know, the curve fixed, and I also want my breathing done, I want this lifted and everything else. And he just was like, yep, sure, and like didn't really touch base about my breathing, and that was a huge thing that I wanted fixed because I knew it was messed up. But I just didn't feel it with him, so I met up with my other doctor, which was even better because he did a virtual like FaceTime with me to meet, and it was completely free. The other doctor, I had to pay, I think it was like $250 to meet up with him, and then to not pick him, so I kind of wasted the $250, I guess, but I think it was worth it to meet someone else and know 2 different people and what they would do. But when I met with my second doctor, we FaceTimed, and it was like an instant like connection, which you should definitely have, especially like someone operating on your face. If you guys aren't on the same page, you don't want your face messed up. So when I talked to him, I told him how I just think my nose got hit a bunch when I was little, and it got hit and curved, and it was just grown like out further, probably from the damage, and how I feel like my inside, like I wasn't breathing correctly, and how I thought my septum was messed up and everything. And he literally went into detail about everything, how he was gonna cut the front like a staircase incision, and he was gonna put grafts on the side so it doesn't collapse. And I told him he was gonna lift the tip so it wasn't droopy, and then I had a hump as well, and he fixed that, and he also fixed the curve. And he also told me that the inside was collapsed, and I probably was only getting about 15% of air on my left side. So that was like super crazy. So the difference between the 2, that was how I knew. Like when you compare it, to something that's gonna go on your face, it's totally different. I mean, my mom was like, oh, he's like, you know, this other doctor is half the price, blah, blah, blah. But that's my face. So I didn't want to take chances. So it was a little more pricey, but it was definitely totally worth it. And I'm just so glad with how like everything went. And he was super nice. And I met with him a few times before surgery, and then the paperwork came and I just had to wait for a while. And they were like, oh, you probably have to wait until, you know, this was like, I want to say like March or so of 2021. And then I finally went through the whole process, met up with him, I want to say June. And literally by the first week of July, they had called me and got a cancellation because someone had gotten COVID. So I got called in. It was like super crazy, but it went really, really well. So now I'm going to tell you how my experience was. So the whole experience, I've never had surgery at all, so the whole thing was bizarre to me. But I went there for 7 a.m. I was the first surgery, and it was really like exciting for me because it was something that I wanted for so long. I just never thought I could do it. So I pretty much went in, got everything set. They gave me the anesthesia. Well, they gave me like a IV first, obviously, and then I sat for a while, and then I met with my doctor again. We talked over it real quick of what we were gonna do, and then it went pretty well. And then it was very strange because I was talking to everybody and talking to a couple of the girls that were gonna be in the room with me. And then they're like, oh, we're gonna start the anesthesia soon. And I was like, all right, whatever, knock me out. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh, they like started strolling me out of my little spot. And then next thing I knew, I woke up and I was like, what just happened? So I looked at the girl and she was like, oh, you're all set, your surgery's over, you're in recovery. And I looked at her and I'm serious. I was like, wait, I'm done already? Like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, you're all done. And like, I looked at like my nose, and because they had put a cast on that was flesh color, I thought they forgot, and I was like so scared to touch it. And I was like, but it's one of those things where I just wanted to touch it, but I knew I shouldn't. So I was like, okay, don't touch it. They forgot to put it on. And then I realized, like, as I woke up more, that it was just flesh colored, and I had like a little bandage like right here, and I looked like a little beat up little butterfly, I guess. And it was very strange because when you first wake up, you're so confused of where you are because you're in a different area. And I thought I was like in a library or something. I was like, what is going on? And it was so weird, but all the girls were super nice. They took care of me, and it's just a very weird experience altogether. But I know one question that I'm gonna get a ton of. No, it did not hurt at all. At least in my experience anyway. I woke up and it just felt like someone was like literally like holding my nose like this. It was very strange. It just felt like a really firm grasp on my nose. It was so strange. And then that was about it. The only thing that did suck with my whole experience was I think they had gotten some of the adhesive when they like tape your eyes shut during surgery. I think someone got in one of my eyes, and I had gotten like really irritated from it. And then I think I also got like bloodshot. I don't know if it's from that or from the surgery, because they're moving all kinds of stuff in here so you can get bloodshot eye anyway. But I had that for, I want to say, at least a month. My eye was like super red, but the stinging from the adhesive only lasted a couple days. It wasn't that bad. I just kept crying all the time. So that wasn't bad at all. It was pretty fun, but the process was super easy. I got bruises. It wasn't terrible. I'll explain more in my next video, but I think the whole process, like overall, was really not that bad. If you really want to do it, just go for it, because I'm so glad I did it. It's like one of the best things that I decided to do, and I'm beyond glad that I did it, because everyone's like, oh, don't do it, you never thought about it before. And which I did. I just never told anybody because I was like, I could never afford that. But if it's something that you really want and you want to do for yourself, do it. I'm so glad I did it, and honestly, it's the best thing I've ever done for myself. It was totally worth it. So that was my little experience. It was super easy. At least in my experience, it was way easier than I thought. I thought I was gonna be in pain and everything else. They gave me all kind of meds, and I used like first couple of days just in case, and I didn't need them at all. So I hope this video helped, and I will be posting another video soon with my before and afters, but that is all for today. So I will see you guys later.